My name is James Carlson. I'm originally from Lake City, Minnesota, and I served in the Navy. Well, I started my military service right out of high school by accepting an appointment at the United States Naval Academy at Annapolis, Maryland. And I graduated from there in '69 and then went to basic pilot training starting in Pensacola, Florida. Well, I started at the Academy in '65. I was actually commissioned as an ensign in the Navy in 1969, and then I served until September of 1974. Well, the pilot training was in Pensacola, Florida to start with basic training, and then I went to basic jet training and then advanced jet training in Meridian, Mississippi, and then Beeville, Texas. Then I had to go back to Pensacola for my qualification on the aircraft carrier, and I got my wings there in 1971 as a Navy pilot. Well, I'm not sure what to say about that. At the time that I was serving, they were winding down the war in Vietnam. And so they cut a bunch of pilots out of the training command, and also there weren't as many billets available for like flying off the aircraft carrier. Fleet assignments is what they call them. So I went back to Pensacola and instructed in a plane called the T-28 for a couple of years. And then I was sent to Guam for my last 18 months, and I flew the Grumman Albatross there, which is a high-wing amphibian. It's kind of a flying boat with wheels, you might say. And while I was there, I had an engine failure about halfway to the Philippines. I was taking an airplane there to be delivered to an oil company that was going to use the airplane to land and service their offshore oil drilling rigs. And about halfway, we had an engine failure. And that meant that we could only get about 95 knots of speed and an altitude of about 5,000 feet instead of 10,000 feet where we normally cruise. Well, 5,000 feet was below what they called the minimum en route altitude going into the Philippines. And that meant that we were below the level of the mountains going in there. So as it happened, there was another Navy airplane, a P-3 patrol airplane. When we made our distress call out in the middle of the Pacific, they said that they were in the neighborhood and they would come and follow us in, which they did. And they had navigation and radar on their airplane that we didn't have, so they could see the mountains on either side of us. And of course, it was cloudy going in. Not only did we have to fly 9.5 hours after the engine failure just to get to the Philippines, but we were actually below the levels of the mountains. And so the air traffic controllers in the Philippines would not talk to us. They wouldn't give us headings and vectors and help us steer until we were at the minimum en route altitude. Well, we were 2,000 feet below it. So this patrol airplane was giving us headings to keep us in between the mountains. And it was kind of interesting because every once in a while, we'd be in a little clear spot between the clouds, and there was a green mountain over here and a green mountain over there. And these guys steered us through the valleys, so to speak, until we got to the minimum en route altitude, and the Filipino air traffic controllers finally got us to Clark Air Base. I don't know, I think just self-discipline and never giving up and deciding that you can do a lot of things that you didn't know you could do. And it was a good career for me, a good start for me, because I wanted all along to be an airline pilot. And after I left the Navy, I was able to get a job with the airlines and fly for 30 more years. Well, that I think that the military service is a good way to start your life. I think it's a good thing to do. And, you know, years ago, it was just kind of assumed that when you graduated from high school, you would either go to college or you would go into, quote, the service, you know, either Army, Navy, Air Force, or whatever. And now it's not like that anymore. And there are a lot of people that just don't understand how important it is that we have a strong military to defend our country. And I think it's a very honorable way to not only get a start, but also to do a career and keep the military strong and serve your country. I am a father, and I have 2 sons that are doing well. I'm proud of them. One of them is in the Air Force, so he's also pursued a career in the military. And I don't know, I have Christian faith, and I think that's been a very important thing for me, and I've passed that on to my boys, and I just try to do good things for other people.